Hello folks, Nile Creek Fly Shop here. Well, it's time to tie up a fly that I call the big bird. It is steelhead season. Just starting. It's actually rainy season, so the steelhead season will start once these rains subside. And this fly called the big bird is a take off of a tarpon fly that I've been using in the tropics a lot. And I've had great success with this. So what we're going to do is make it as a stinger. So I've got a shank, a 55mm shank. I put thread on it. Now I'm going to put a loop, and I'm using tough line, 20 kilogram or something. It's not too heavy. Don't want nothing too heavy. And I'm making the loop, as you can see, and I'll just lay it in with about an inch or so behind where the thread stops. And I want that there for a reason. So I'm just using a regular 140 UTC thread, nothing fancy. And I'll bring my thread back over. I don't want this wire to pull off, or this Power Pro stuff to pull off, so, or braid I should call it. There we are. So this is what's going to feed the hook. So on the shank. It's a very simple fly to tie, but it's also quite critical in lots of little areas. I just had some amazing times with this fly. So I'm using some moose mane, which we know is easy to get, not too expensive, especially here in the north. I'm going to lay it in. I'm going to bring my thread back to the back end here where the loop starts. And the reason I'm using moose mane is it's going to help keep my feathers spread out. And the feathers that I'm using, so I'm going to do this, I'm going to wrap it around the hook, the shank. There we are. And I'll wrap it around the shank. The front's going to be cut off. It's the back that's most important. There we are. Just spread that around. There we are. Why I want that there is it's going to help my feathers lay out where I want them to be, and I'll show you a finished fly. What I mean by that is this. You can see how those feathers are coming out, and the feathers are actually a neck hackle, which has a very stiff vein, and you want that curve to go away from the shank, like so. And so when in the water, what happens is it goes like this, and when you release the pressure, it opens up. And the moose mane helps it open up. Moose mane's not that heavy. So yeah, and this extra material will just help build the body up. It's for no other reason. You can cut it off if you wanted back closer to the thread and the loop, but it's just material. That's all it is. There we are. And I'll pack it down with my thread. You can also use nano thread, which I use a lot, which I really like. But so you can see how this is pushed out now. It's the deer moose hair thing where it just pushes out. Okay, so next I'm going to lay in my feathers. And you want them to lay in so they go like that. See how they move away? I want that to be in there. I've already stripped the feathers, so I've prepared this a bit. Bring that vein back over. Yeah, there you go. You like the veins to be all close together because the feathers will stay relative proximity to each other and form a nice straight, ideally straight clump like this. In the water they're going to mat up, so that's okay as well. There we are. Sometimes it's a pain in the ass. Sometimes it's not. That's why I like to strip. I like to strip those feathers below so I can get, there we are. There, that's what I want right there. And I'll just lay this in, and you're going to start with a soft wrap. Just a soft wrap, soft wrap, soft wrap, soft wrap. And that'll allow you to move your feathers around where you want them to be. There we are. And then I'll just heavy wrap it forward a bit. Again, you don't have to be too careful with this. It's a big fly with lots of movement. And the whole idea is to have something there that intrigues the fish. The same will occur with this one. Same length, yep, that's good. Soft, soft, and then heavy, heavy, heavy. Lock it down. Okay, I'll bring that down so I kind of even the body a bit. There we are. This fly has been very productive, and you can do it in lots of colors. I also did it in a grizzly earlier on the day, so you can see the grizzly as well. So I like the body to be fairly visible, so what I'm using on the body is, I'm not wrapping it with any fancy wire or anything like that. I'm just going to use Lagerton flat braid over that moose mane body and those veins of the neck hackle. Nothing fancy. And I'll start wrapping backwards the way I like. There we are. Nice and flat. Flat braid, it really covers a lot of area. Nice. And so once we get done with this fly, we're using marabou on the head. As it's moving around in the water, the fish will be able to see this body reflection. And that's really the whole idea of it all. It's just let the fish see what the heck's going on back under there so they can take a look. Now we know that shrimp and prawns and crayfish have different colors in the water. So next will be, I'm going to be using some something like a UV Palmer chenille. It's also in a green, and this is going to be for my marabou bump. And it also has a little flash. I don't need to put any Flashabou or crystal flash on this fly. It just doesn't have to be done. There we are. Now we're getting there. So you can see how we're creating that nice little bump there. Some people will dub. I will dub it sometimes. Don't need to. This is not what I call a fancy fly. So I don't want to be that fancy with it. Now I'll pull that back. Now we'll lock that down. There. Lock that down. So I've got my bump, I got my wings. Pretty well happy with what I see so far. Now I'm using one of our store-dyed marabous, and marabou is kind of an interesting material. What I did with this is I made sure that we had the soft part of the vein close to where we start palmering, because some people will palmer their marabou from the tip, which I don't like doing. Some people do, but I like to palmer from where it starts to really bend easy. So you can see where it's bending easy right there. So what I'll do is I'll grab it, strip it, and then you can start palmering from right there. And that's really cool. I've already preset this one, so I will set it up now and lay it in. I like to lay in, I like to grab just a little bit of the feather. Pull the vein back, come in behind the vein a couple times, and over. And then palmer by hand. I like marabou, wonderful material, but you don't want to put too much on, because if you do, the fly will ride high in the water column, and we really don't want that. There you can see the shape that we're taking here now. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. One more little wrap, Some people will actually strip one side of the marabou, and you can. That's it. Perfect right there. There we are. Now don't close your scissors on this, just push. There. So you've pushed your blade through the vein without cutting those beautiful fibers. Wet your fingers, suck it back, and lock them in. There we are. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. Excellent, excellent, excellent. That little burr. And for all intents and purposes, this fly is practically done. Now you notice the distance here? It doesn't matter much. It really doesn't matter much at all. The fish isn't looking at that. Now, I'm putting on a dumbbell eye. Just a gold one. It can be different. It can be a number of things. I like the dumbbell eye because we need a little weight on this fly. Not much, a little bit. Dab of super glue, and we are practically done. A few more wraps in the front here, and I'll just use my whip finisher to clean that up. And some super glue, and that is it, folks. We are done. We have here a very, very, very aggressive, fish-friendly fly called the Big Bird. And you can dress it up with Rhea and all that other stuff, but the more you put on, unfortunately, the more buoyant it might become. So you really have to watch that. And it is a stinger fly, so I'll put a hook on the back end on that loop, and I will be away to the races. So there's what it looks like. Look, now I don't use wire because wire is too stiff. Almost makes it like a rudder, and it doesn't need that on this fly. And the hooks I'm using are the Arex stinger hook, which is pretty lightweight and it won't bend. So you've got the best of everything here, folks. And I really hope you enjoyed that, and stay tuned to us. We will be doing lots of fly tying over the next little while now that we're in the rainy season, and we got all these wonderful materials coming in, and we're doing all this great dyeing, and so next will probably be Scandi tubes, tube flies, you know, leech patterns, definitely all the intruder patterns. So stay with us, folks, and we look forward to hearing back from you. Thank you.